and marriage is definitely not an achievement. Life with RUZHOFF, my lovelies, inspiring you to live an empowered life. Today, we're going to tackle the question, are you too old to get married? We're looking at love, life, and societal expectations. So this video was actually inspired by some of my clients that contact me and want to talk about love, want to talk about dating and what they're basically going through. And I have one particular client that really got to my emotions, let me put it that way, because she's in a situation where she feels like she's lost it all. Time is running out. She believes she's too old to get married. She believes there's probably no chance for her anymore, like she's lost all hope. And I thought it would actually be important to tackle this topic because I know she's not alone. I've had several contact me, and I know that from people that I interact with, that is a very, very common dilemma. So to kick it off, the question is, when is someone too old to get married? If you ask me, it's a very complicated, like it's complex and very subjective per se, because it really depends on so many factors, and these are the factors that I want to tackle for us to weigh whether one is ever too late to get married, or like I believe that it's never too late to get married, of which I'll be giving you my reasons. But I would like us to first tackle about the different reasons that could help us answer the questions if one is actually way too old to get married. So we'll start with individual circumstances. In the past, in the 1900s, I believe, most women got married because it was the only way of surviving. Men were a form of financial stability, because women were not working, women were not employed, women were not earning their own money. So marriage was a form of security. So in those days, it was very, very crucial and important for one to find a suitor, for one to find a partner as soon as possible. And that's why people in 1900s and way before used to get way much early at a very, very young age because, well, it was a means of survival. But when I talk of individual circumstances, I'm considering factors like emotional maturity, I'm talking about financial stability, I'm talking about personal goals and readiness for commitment. Some people are ready to get married at 20, especially here in the first world. I see it a lot. People commit at a very young age. But the longer I've watched it, the more I get to realize it's also to do with security, with financial, goals, because one knows if we're staying together, if we rent an apartment together, it is much cheaper sharing the rent and so on. But those are also factors that one should consider. And you find some people are 40 years old and they're not ready to get married. So it's very, very important to keep in mind the emotional stability or maturity of a person, the financial stability, and the readiness to get married play a very, very big role in when one gets married, whether quite early on in life or later on in life. Expounding on that, we are now in 2024. Most women, thank God, have jobs and a living by themselves. And it's now common practice that women don't feel the pressure anymore. Not all women, but most women don't feel the pressure anymore to get married quite young because, again, they can bring food to the table, and they don't need the security anymore from having a partner, as was in the case in the past. So, of course, that is something very, very important. But then we go back to culture norms and expectations, which I believe is the biggest problem, especially with my clients that I deal with and other people that are dealing with this dilemma. I know there are many different cultures that pay so much attention to marriage, that consider marriage to be an achievement, that consider marriage to be like the ultimate goal in life. I don't subscribe to that, but we're talking about culture, norms, and expectations. Now, let's tackle, for example, the African culture. In Africa, marriage is still considered to be key, like very, very important, like end goal, like top achievement, which I find very, very absurd. And that means that women suffer. If you clock 25 and you don't have a suitor, you don't have a man, then you're considered Actually, I've seen on the streets the common word is spinster, this old spinster, So most of my clients actually, I would consider them old. They are all between the ages of 25 and 34. Maximum, I think, is 38. And when I read their messages and the mails they send to me, they're talking and feeling like they're already 70. Like all hope is lost. Like, we're too old, no one can find us attractive, no one can marry us, the society actually would rather get rid of us. Like, what are we for in this world? Like, they feel worthless. But I'm talking about educated women that have jobs, that have a life, but they feel they've lost in life. They feel they've not performed well in life because they've not yet found a partner. So unfortunately, that is also a big factor. When I turn the tables and now focus on the first word, for example, here in Germany, which probably is the reason I don't subscribe to, for example, how people back home believe, is I personally believe it's never too late to get married. It's all about, when am I ready? Am I ready to get married? Well, question is, you also have to find a partner. I believe it's possible to find a partner as long as you are open, you are not desperate, and you are not in a dilemma where you believe marriage is an achievement. Marriage is a life end goal. That's something you really, really must achieve then to be fulfilled. Then it's difficult to get a partner. But if you look at it as a way of commitment, as a way, for me, I consider marriage to be a cherry on the top. The most important bit is the relationship, is the love. And then the marriage is like, when you put a cherry on top to make it even nicer, but it shouldn't be a life goal or an achievement. And it shouldn't be like the focus of a relationship. I believe the focus of a relationship should be having a good time, respecting each other, loving each other, and also being happy in this relationship, and not per se getting married. But again, like I said, cultures also dictate how one looks at such a situation and what kind of pressure one has to put up with. We're talking health and fertility. Again, I'm a woman. I'm the best person to talk about that. We all know that for almost eternity, women, we've always had the saying, the clock is ticking. Clock is ticking means, well, if you want to get married, if you want to have a family, if you want to have kids, you better get married between this and this age. Otherwise you won't be able to have kids, otherwise you'll be too old. Thanks to modernity, thanks to how the world is changing right now, women are able to get kids even late, older years, 40, 50. I'm not saying it's the ultimate or the perfect choice, but at least it gives us room, it gives us a chance to focus on other things that are also important to us and that are also worthy prioritizing. So definitely health and fertility is also one of the reasons that can make one feel like I'm way too old to get married. One of my clients is not yet even 35 and she's lost all hope. And when I try to replay her message to me, like, she's really, really desperate. She's really in a very sad state. She's almost depressed because of that. And I find that absurd, because at 34, 35, you are very, very young and you can still have a family and you can still get a partner. I don't believe in saying finding a partner. I mean, the right partner finds you, love finds you. I believe we all have our person out there. So you don't have to go desperately searching for them. Yes, you have to take initiative to find them, but you don't have to like find them. You find each other. And I believe at 34, you still have all doors open for you. But you also have to be realistic and keep some things in mind. Maybe you were never meant to have a family. It's very sad. I know no one loves to hear that. But like I always say, we plan and God decides. Just like we don't know when we're going to die. When we wake up every morning, we believe, oh, we still have a long life ahead of us. But it could be that you're going to fall down the stairs tomorrow and die. And that's how I look at every aspect of life. Try to live in the moment. Yes, work towards the goal, work towards that thing that you really want. If you desire a family, work towards it. But don't beat yourself up because some things are out of your control. You could be beating yourself up to desperately get married, have kids, but maybe biologically you're not in position to have kids. You might even find that man gets married and you'll never have kids. So don't beat yourself up about things that you can't control, about things that you're not even sure of, because again, when we get kids, it's by God's grace, it's by God's doing. We can't dictate that. So don't beat yourselves up is what I would say, and try to live in the moment, try to enjoy the moment. And of course, I totally understand if someone desires to have a partner. I totally understand that. Who wouldn't want that? We are human beings. We depend so much on love. We depend so much on, we all desire to have that someone that treasures us, someone that we can share our lives with. So of course, I respect that desire. I respect that dilemma when someone really desires to have someone to call their own and they don't have that person. But again, I still insist, try to live in the moment. And like I said, technology is now better. Our reproductive window has been, widened. It's no longer between 25 and 34, but now you can go even at 50 and have a child. If that is the right time, is per se your decision. But I hope it gives you hope, and eases your pain and struggle and desperation, knowing that it's not too late. There's still a chance. And while you wait for the chance, while you wait for that partner, live. Live your life as you wait. Don't wait on life. Live in the moment as you chase those other things that you'd love. But don't put your life on hold waiting for those things to happen. So, taking you back to the topic again, before you lose, track, we're talking about, when is one too old to get married, or are you even too old to get married? I say no, it doesn't exist. You are never too late to get married. But then we talked about, I said it's very complex and very subjective, and I would like to talk about things that might influence such decisions or give someone such thoughts and put someone in such a dilemma. Like I said, as a result of my clients, I've come to realize that this is something that people struggle with, and being a social empowerment community is something that I would like to address. We're talking about personal preferences and goals. Again, in my case, for example, I would say it's all about what's important to you, why you want to get married, when you want to have kids. Why is it important to you that you want to have kids between the age of 30 and 40? Maybe you're thinking, if I have my kids between that age, I'll have, I still have many years ahead of me. I'll be able to be there for my children for a longer time. But again, as I say, there are no guarantees in life. Whether you get your kids at 50 or 20, there's no guarantee that you'll be there to walk down your children down the aisle. For example, there's possible to get children at 20 and die at 30. Unfortunately, I know that sounds very brutal, but I'm a very realistic human being, and I like to put facts out there realistically. And someone might get their child at 50 and live to be 90. Are they offering the perfect parent experience to their children? I don't know, because I've not experienced that. But what I'm trying to say, again, like I said before, do not beat yourself up about things that you cannot control, about things that you even have no authority over. So if that is the reason that you're in this dilemma, that you're in pain, that you're hurting, that you've not yet married and got kids at 34 because you think, oh my God, I'm going to be too old and die very soon or whatever, there are no guarantees in life. So you never know whether you're going to live long or not. And it has nothing to do with when you get married, when you get kids, at what time you do that. So again, live in the moment, do what you can, to achieve that, what you want to achieve, and leave the rest to God and the right timing, really, because some things are definitely out of your hand. Maybe the final, which is a funny one. It's a very serious one, but a funny one. Some people may consider themselves to be maybe too old to get married out of, legal or practical reasons. For example, I said that in my video before. I have a video where I talk about, does age matter when it comes to relationships and marriage? So this is where also this point comes in. Question is, if I get married at 50, am I still in position to enjoy the relationship? Am I still in position to make my marriage or relationship worthwhile as regards my age? My answer is yes. Thank God we are living longer now. We are living healthier lives. Of course, it's up to you to make sure that you have a healthy lifestyle, that you, even when you live long, that you're still agile, that you're still fit, that you don't lose the child in you. I believe that is very, very important. I've met people who are 50 years old and they look and feel and have the aura of someone who is 40. And then you find people who are 40, they have the aura and the health of someone that is 60. So it's also up to you to make sure that you live a healthy lifestyle, that you remain active. And thanks to technology and good medical services, we live longer now. So yes, if you ask me, from my point of view, it's never too late to get married. Well, of course, we cannot ignore the factors and circumstances that are very important. I talked about individual decisions, I talked about culture norms, I talked about personal preferences, I talked about practical considerations about making decisions and all that, commitment, compatibility, and all that. Those are things, of course, you have to keep in mind. But at the end of the day, my advice and tip for you is live in the moment. If you are in a relationship, enjoy the relationship. Focus on making sure your relationship is healthy, fulfilling, and a relationship that is building you. And then let marriage be the cherry on the top. Marriage is just but a commitment to each other, a commitment to your love. You know, it is not the end game, it's not the end goal, and marriage is definitely not an achievement. Once you look at it that way, you'll find that it's easier to go through life, no matter at what stage in your life you meet your soulmate and do finally get married. And if it never happens, it's not the end of the world. I can assure you, it's not the end of the world. Yes, it's sad, yet it might feel lonely, but not getting married is not the end of the world. You can still date, you can still have amazing love experiences without having to get married. So don't get stuck in especially culture norms and expectations, because most of the people who contact me, it's all about the expectations, the pressures that come from society. Like one of them told me she's the talk of the town. Everyone is like, oh, why isn't she getting married? Why doesn't she have kids? Do you live your life? If you are happy, just do you, live your life, and don't limit yourself, because once you go into dating only focusing on getting married, you'll end up even scaring potential partners because you're going to come up so desperate. So my loves, all I can say is you are never too old to get married. You only get married when you're ready, and when, most of all, it is the right person. Because if you get married just because you have to get married, you might end up in a very, very toxic relationship. So get married when you're ready. Get married when it's really, truly the right person. Until next time, my lovely is here to inspire, uplift, and empower you.